Mishnah. Welcome back to you. Amud Beis in the Mishnah. We're reviewing, revising, and repeating the Mishnah. The question of the Mishnah is maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. Sometimes to keep someone else's Aveda actually is a costly business. So what do you do then? Says the Mishnah, if the item is something that can actually make money and pay for itself, it's not a parasite. The example the Gemara and Rashi give is what? Is, for example, a cow. Let's say you find a cow here in the Chemish walking around. What do? You take the cow and you plow your field. That's what we'd all do, right? So then you plow your field, or a donkey. You also, take a horse. Actually, can be profitable. You can take kiddie rides, horseback riding, and then the food you feed the animal, that big animal, can be covered by its own work. Okay, it covers its costs. Now that you should keep it, not forever. You should keep it, and the chiddush is that although it doesn't cost money, it still costs tircha. It's still a pain in the neck. Who says I don't need that animal to work for me? So why don't we say that the finder should right away sell the donkey, sell the horse, sell the cow, and just keep the actual cash in an envelope nicely ready for the loser? You know why? Because the loser wants his own animal that he trained. We're not talking about pets with emotional, connection, and I love my cutesy cat. But the idea over here is that the person actually trained his horse, trained his cow to work, trained his donkey. So he wants the original back. So make sure he gets the original back. As long as you don't lose money, you the finder. Now comes the second part of now comes the other case. An animal that does not produce anything productive. It's not a productive animal, but it still tends to eat. It's a living being, so somehow it eats. For example, a parrot, for example, I don't know, a cat, a dog, they only cost money. They don't bring in money in most cases, unless you make a show with them. So then then at some point, we'll see, but quicker and earlier than the other one, you should sell it early in the time. Why? Let's say the owner is not coming. What do? You sell them, and you're not supposed to lose. Shenema, as it says, give it back to him. What do you mean give it back to him? Make sure that you return the original animal and its worth, or it's worth the original owner. What do I mean to say? If you, let's say, you have a parrot. The parrot is 3,000 shekels. We gave an example yesterday. I don't know how much it cost. 3,000 shekel a parrot. And you start feeding and feeding and feeding the parrot. I'm going to get your question later. You feed the parrot, and you got to the point where you already spent 1,500 shekels. Now, eventually, he's going to come, hopefully. He will, what's going to do? He's going to kiss and hug the parrot. So nice. The parrot is back. Where are the cameras? Where are the tissues? So nice. He found the parrot. It's a reunion. It's so touching. That's when the movie ends. No, that's not when the movie ends. Because after he meets with this 3,000 shekels parrot, the owner who lost it, lastly comes home. What happens then? The finder comes and says, Mister, there's a bill here of 1,500. I'm not supposed to Metzia money to, go into expenses and debt with your money pit, as you said, kind of parrot, 1,500. So he's not getting really 3,000 shekels worth of a parrot. He's getting half a parrot, mitzad, the value, right? Says Rashi, if he gets to that point, or if you know that this is leading that direction, it's close to already 50%, sell the parrot, way before that, sell the parrot. If you know the prediction, be planned, sell the parrot earlier in time. Although he's not going to get the original parrot, here we don't care. Why? Because here I'm not going to give him back the value. Instead of 3,000 shekel value, he's getting 1,500. That's what Rashi says. Other Rishonim say, like the Rashba, the Meiri, I think, the Rashba, I've seen a few, they say even less. As long as there is just a loss, even, 10, 20% already, if he's not getting his money's value, because he'll have to reimburse the finder for all the expenses, and the just expenses, because the animal doesn't cover itself, in that case, you just right at the start, or not right at the start, we'll see later in the Gemara, but earlier in time, you have to already sell it. Although he won't get back his original cutesy parrot, it's still better for him to get the value of 3,000 back, or 2,900, whatever, that's the closest possible, rather than losing a lot. According to Rashi, 50%. According to other Shonim, even less than that. Before question, there was another question on the phone yesterday, and that was Baruch. A question asked by the Rishonim, by the Rimi Lunil. He asks a question which is what you asked. What are we talking about over here? We assume all the time that the parrot, 3,000 shekels, and the bill of 1,500 is the loss for the owner. Frag the Rishonim, if the parrot stayed in the house of Mr. Parrot owner, he would also have to feed it. Why is that called a loss? Right? If during that, I don't know, half year, I don't know how much, yeah, you'd also have to feed it yourself, Mr. Parrot owner, so that's not called a loss. There are two answers. I hope I remember them. I didn't see it inside. Machabrusa read it to me twice. Basically, answer number one is, and that's Merumas later in the Gemara, the owner can always say, what? You fed it 1,500 shekels? You live in North Tel Aviv. I live in a small moshav. My parrot runs around. By me, that period of time, I don't spend 1,500. I spend 500, right? So Lamaisa, for him, it's a loss because the owner many times knows how to feed it better, cheaper, and therefore, or maybe the animal eats less rather than by the host, and therefore it's not always the same. You still have a difference, which is considered to be a loss from the side of the owner who would fed it less food or less expensive food. And therefore, that's one answer. Answer number two, as opposed to the ratio where the animal pays for itself, in the second case, we're basically demanding of who? Of the finder to spend and spend and spend and spend and spend. And one sunny day, we hope the owner will come and pay him back. Who says? Who says that the Torah demands of a finder to just give such a huge credit line to the loser, to the owner? That is also a chiddush. Eventually get it back. Who says I have the cash? I'm a kollel guy. I don't have, parrot food all the time, all over the place. Who says you'll eventually find it and eventually pay me? Either yes or no. I'm not willing to take the risk. Says the Torah, you're right. Because of these two reasons, we say it's better when all this, excuse the expression, dirty money business comes in. We say instead of him potentially losing either the finder or the loser, the way we see it now, sell the item, sell the animal, keep the cash in the corner, and that's about it. There were a lot of fingers here. Okay, I'm accepting questions. I think he was before.
That was my question.
Good, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem.
From the owner's point of view.
Yeah.
He's saving feed.
You have to feed it because you're out here.
No, I don't have to feed. A question comes to another question. Again, the Torah does not require that I should spend more money than the other guy would have spent or start giving him a huge credit line. The Torah does not demand it of me. And therefore, the Torah says, sell the item, even though the owner is losing because he's not getting the original animal, but money-wise, he does get the amount that the animal is worth. Because right at the start, or almost right at the start, I sell it. And therefore, it's going to get it in the form of cash, which is not ideal, and chinami, but that's second best. Of course, if the animal pays for itself, and chinami at that point, we say it pays for itself, keep it as long as you can. We'll see later how much, and he's going to get his original animal. And everyone's happy. But if you cannot keep everyone happy, we prefer the other person gets cash rather than getting less value and me keep lending him money all the time. Last but not least, for that round of questions. Yes.
Animal.
Okay. Middle of the Mishnah. Now you got the cash. Which cash? You sold that parrot, which is like what you call a money pit. I'm not going to keep that animal here and just keep paying. Yeah. Nobody's going to be happy. He'll have to pay a lot of money. I'm lending too much money. Let's sell the item and finished. What do you do with the money that you got for, which is in lieu of the actual animal that was lost? Wow. You have that envelope in the side with the cash that you got for the parrot, the 3,000 shekels. In case of need, you're allowed to use it. Okay. Why can you use it? I'm telling you the secret at the end of the story, the very end, which I hope to get to today. And that is you worked hard for it, because even those animals that you find, it takes some time until you sell it. You don't sell it the second you get it. We'll see later, right? And therefore, you did take care of it. You're a good boy. You're a Meshiv Aveda. The Torah gives you a bonus. The Torah says, because you're a good boy, you kept Aveda, you dealt with Aveda, which is an animal which needs feeding even a few days. and therefore that money you're allowed to use in case you need it. Lefikach. Now the question is, what's the status of this person? We'll discuss later. Lefikach, therefore, im avdu chayv b'achar yusan. This person who now has the reshus to use the money is either a shoyel, is either a borrower, or a shomer socho, right? Because he guards it and he has the sachar that he may be able to use it when he wants to, and therefore he's responsible for what happens with the money. Either gneva v'aveda, if the money gets lost, the money gets stolen, he's responsible, like a shomer sochor. And if you view him like a shoyel, he's chayv even in the oinsin. Even if people came with guns blazing or some storm came, he's always chayv. We're going to discuss it extensively today, but conceptually, the responsibility is his because he's enjoying. You're benefiting from having the money, knowing, twinkling in the corner. Then if you're, if you'll be strapped for cash, you'll have it as an option. Oh, you're gaining something. Yes, pain, yes, gain. Yes, gain, yes. In other words, therefore, you should also be responsible if anything happens to the money. Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva says, no, I don't believe it is benefits and bonuses. It's a regular pikadon. The money belongs to somebody else, called the losing guy. Don't use the money. Therefore, if the money gets lost, you're shomer chinam. Because you're shomer chinam, according to Rabbi Akiva, you guard it for free. People who guard something for free, a shomer chinam, is not chayv if anything happens to the cash, if it gets lost or stolen. He's only chayv if he was really negligent, shia. But if it's gneva aveda, is not chayv. Okay, we'll discuss that in the second part of the shir. Says the Gemara, Ula Oilam. The Gemara now talks about those animals that are productive. The cow, the horse, the donkey that pay for themselves. Ula Oilam. How long are we going to have this donkey in the middle of our dining room? Yeah, is your wife happy with the donkey in the dining room? I don't know. The Oilam, the question is, it's a tircha. Says Rashi, Ad Oilam zokuk zel tapel b'toyrach shmira. Money is not everything. Even if the animal pays for itself, but it's a headache for me to start dealing with someone else's animal the entire life. Answers the Gemara, no, it's not forever. Up until 12 months. After 12 months, you can sell it. Yeah, 12 months is always a good, an entire year. Yeah, that's also Aveda's Mishtakach. That's a different story. That's the Chazal gave a shear. I don't know why. Chazal gave a shear up to 12 months. If it didn't come, then after 12 months, the guy did not come, the one who lost, then it can convert the cow into cash. And whatever the cow is worth, I don't know, 5,000 shekels, keep it in a cash in the corner for him. Tanin Amihachi, a brisa to support what we just said. Kol dover she'oise ve'oichel, any animal that oise, that is productive and also eats and covers for its cost. Kigoin, for example, poro v'chamoir, a cow or a donkey. You take care of them up until 12 months, and then you're not losing anything. By the way, Ellen, you could ask the other way, what happens if there's more money? Let's say the animal eats 500 a day and produces 700 a day. Then you keep the cash for the owner. Yeah? Bepashis, you keep it for the owner. Some say maybe it's a shutfus, but Bepashis, keep it for the owner. Don't take it for yourself, as far as I remember. I have to check it again, but I saw in a glimpse that I think it belongs to the owner, to the real owner. Mikan ve'elach, what happens after 12 months? Your wife comes and tells you a year with a cow in the dining room was too much, yeah? Mikan ve'elach, sham dmeyen umanichan. Not sam, but sham. You assess. Sham dmeyen, in other words, you have to assess how much it costs, yeah? And sell it to somebody else. By the way, you should not sell it to yourself. Seriously. Don't say, I'll keep the cow, yeah? And I'll just keep and pay cash from my own pocket because it's Maris Ayin. Mr. Morris? Yeah, Maris Ayin is, people will say, he's using his own Aveda for himself. He's going to say, no, it's actually mine. Yesterday it was somebody else's, now it's yours. Fishy business. Sell it to somebody else. And the cash keep for who? For the guy, for the owner who's eventually going to come. Manichan, leave the money in the corner. Rabi Tarfon or Rabbi Akiva. Agolim usyochin. Now there are different levels of non-productive animals. Agolim v'syochin. Agolim are calves. In Siochin, I never know this word in English. Foal, a young horse is a foal. 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 Oh, you see, Baruch Hashem. No, I'm not. Foal. No, good. You make me feel good. Okay, so the calf and the foal, the young ones, they don't know how to work in the field yet. They run around. They're very little, but they don't know how to plow, a field properly. So they're not productive. Metapil ben shloisha chodoshim. Those you have to take care of 3 months. Yeah. Mikan ve'elach sham dmeinu manichan. After 3 months of them being by you, then you sell it. Why 3 months? I don't know exactly 3 months, but the idea in general is we still give the owner, the potential owner, some time to come and look for his beloved animal. But here it's only 3 months because those animals they don't produce anything, they're not doing anything positive in their lives, and therefore they're just a money machine. And after 3 months, then I have to sell them. I'm allowed to sell them. Next case, and now we're going to pinpoint more. Avazin v'tarnegoilin. What about geese? Male geese, v'tarnegoilin, male roosters. They don't produce eggs. They don't lay eggs. You know what do? They're absolutely non-productive, and they're more of a headache and a tircha and a hassle to look after more than the young cows and the young horses. Metapel ben shloishim yoim. Them only 1 month. Only 1 month because those animals they need more care. They need more, tircha. Only 30 days Chazal demanded of me to look after them. And after a month, we say goodbye, bye-bye, rooster, bye, Mr. Goose. And really, you give him away, obviously for money, and the money you keep for the owner. Again, because Agolim Visyochin, they can take care of themselves better. They run around in the pen, they go to the field, as the Gemara is going to say later. Avozim et Golim is the bigger tircha to feed them. Omar of Nachman bar Yitzchak comes of Nachman bar Yitzchak when the first wad lan. Omar of Nachman bar Yitzchak first wad lan tafches amud beis. Tarnigoy less female chicken, the hen kebehema. It's like a behema gasa. Why? Obviously, the female chicken, even if the male is not around, it can lay eggs, right? They rub themselves against the ground, the female chicken, the hen, and what do? They produce eggs all the time. Yeah, even without the males being around. I saw it with my own eyes. My friend in Manchester, he has in Manchester, in the holy city, he has chicken in his backyard in England. Yeah, he has a few hens. Yeah, and they go like that, and every day has like an egg or 2 eggs. He doesn't have to buy eggs in the supermarket. Yeah, so because these female chicken, they're very productive. They pay for themselves. You feed them, but it's worth it for you, and therefore they're like behema gasa, which only after 12 months you can say it's too much for me, if that's how you feel. Yeah. But before that, keep them for 12 months because you're not really losing money. It's a tircha, but it's not money. So that's up to a year. Tani nami hachi. Here comes the brisa to support the last idea. Listen to the next brisa. It supports one thing we said before, but it contradicts other things we said before. So listen carefully. Tani nami hachi. A brisa that supports that partially. Tarnigoiles, says the brisa, Tarnigoiles ubehema gasa, we'll lump them together. Yeah, the hen and the cow and the big animals that can work the field, that can plow, metapel ben 12 chodesh, 12 months. Mikan va'elach, once it's 12 months and you don't have them anymore, it's too much for you to take care of them. Sham dmeyen u manichan. Then you assess how much they're worth, you put them in the market, you look in Yad Shtayim. Do they have cows in Yad Shtayim? I don't know. It's an Israeli site for buying things secondhand. I don't know. Yeah, how much is a cow or a donkey? Yo, the mechir mechiron. And what do? And you sell them and you keep the money for the owner. A golim v'syochin, the young big animals, the calves and the foals. Metapel ben shloishim yom, 30 days. What did we say before? 3 months. Ellen, you get a star. And here the brisa says 1 month, 30 days. And after that, you can just, convert them into money. Your question, Ellen. Which are the, excuse me. I meant avozim v'tarnegolim are those male chicken that don't do anything the whole day. Anything else that it takes more money, they don't pay for themselves. It costs me more to keep them than what they produce. Metapel ben shloisha yomim, 3 days. What did we say before? 1 month on those. Beforehand, we said on those on the male birds, we said a whole month, 30 days. Now we say 3 days. And after that, you convert it into money. The obvious question is, Kasha agolim usyochin, agolim usyochin. Now we have a difficulty, a contradiction between agolim usyochin mentioned in the first brisa. What the word before a noun always means on, regarding. And agolim usyochin vis-a-vis the other agolim usyochin. The first brisa said how much? 3 months. The second brisa said 1 month. What? Avozim eternegolim. Avozim eternegolim, right? Avozim eternegolim mentioned here were 1 month. In the second brisa, all of a sudden it shrunk into 3 days. What's going on? Answers the Gemara. Agolim usyochin lo kashya. Your contradiction regarding the foals and the calves is not difficult. Oh, those that are ro'eh, those that are, it's not different type. In an area in season when they can, like, they can run around in the meadow, in the field, the agolim usyochin, the young horses and the young cows, it doesn't cost me that much to take care of them, not with money. They go to the field, whatever, and they take care of themselves. So such an animal I can keep for 3 months. Those who need feeding, those, whatever, different time, different place, where they really need babysitting all the time, I have to feed them and actually costs me more. That's lefatem, that I can only handle up to 1 month and not 3 months. Okay? Now, avozim etarnegolim, nami lo kasha. Avozim etarnegolim also, it's not difficult, there's no contradiction. Why? Depends if Rav Ravi is what? Big. Zutri, small. Which means, machlokes are showing him here. Says Rashi, the big, some geese are big and fat and, the real macho, or the big roosters. According to Rashi, the more problematic, because they have to feed them more. They cost more feeding. And therefore, I get rid of them, not after 1 month, after 3 days. That was enough with this guy. Bezutri, they need less feeding. They eat less. So therefore, I'll keep them for 1 month and only then sell them. That's what Allah demands, not to get rid of them before 1 month. You're mechuyev 1 month to keep them. Say the Rambam and other Rishonim say the other way around. The Rav Revi, here we're not talking about how much it costs. We're talking about the tircha, right? They all cost something. That is tircha. The big ones, they take care of themselves. The bigger geese, they're already big boys. They know how to walk around. You see, sometimes you go to farms, right? You see the hens, the big ones, they run around like crazy. They go from here and there. They take care of themselves. It costs me money, but Lamai said they don't need more caring. But Shenkin, the small ones, they need, kuchi. They need the babysitting. Those little ones I'd get rid of quicker after 3 days. Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. 2 dots. We are in the. Yeah, geese is called. Goose is kosher and geese are kosher. Whenever we say Sham Dmehen, Rashi says once the money is there, the money is waiting there for who? For the owner to come. Whether you could use it or not temporarily, that's machlokes of Tarfon and Akiva. But the money, the same 3,000 shekels you got for the parrot or the 200 shekels you got for the chicken, what do you do with that? Leave it in the corner. Now, says the Rambam, and I did not fully understand him, and then we're going to another sugya. The Rambam says something along the lines in Shulchan Aruch that become partners. In other words, he's allowed to invest the 3,000 shekels, the finder, and invest in something, and then they become partners 50-50. I guess because he's the owner, but the finder is the one really involved in it. He's sort of forced into becoming a partner. So it could very, very well be, makes a lot of sense, that if the loser's cow, became a faslan, got married to the cow of they become shutfim, they become mechutanim. Yeah, and they shutfim in the vlodos, in the mishpachah. Yeah, you can get shutchanas geld. That's a lot of money. Weiter. One more question. 1 second. I want to ask you something before you continue. We are in the second to last line. Yeah, the animal that does not produce anything, not productive, and just eats your money. What do you do with that? You sell it. When do you sell it? Depends. 3 days, 1 month, 3 months, the Torah says, give it back to him. Give the original. Be smart. Plan your steps in advance and see when you'll give it back to him. How will you give it back to him? Don't feed one calf to the other calves. What does that mean? let's say, according to most Rishonim, the Rashba the Meiri, let's say I didn't buy, no, I found 5 calves, okay? Now, each one of them costs what? Costs 1,000 shekels, okay? Now, I feed and I feed. I already spent 1,000 shekels. I'm going to say 1,000 shekels I spent already. I'll sell 1 egel, yeah, and I will take what? The 1,000 shekels cash, because I have now a hole in my bank account of 1,000 shekels, and I'm not a millionaire, right? And therefore, and that's what's going to happen. Eventually, slowly and surely, I'm feeding ki'il one animal to the others. And the person, what will we find? He'll find cash instead of the original animals. According to Rashi, we talk here that you found 2 agolim, and if you sold 1 egel, or you know that if you behave that way, you will have to sell 1 egel in order to feed the other, because it cost me 1,000 shekels. Yeah, so 1,000 shekels I spent. Now I'm going to sell 1 egel and give him only 50% of what I found. In that situation, don't get started. And from an earlier stage, already sell the animals and just give him cash. It's better to get 2,000 shekels. Let's say it's 2 calves, 1,000 each. It's better get 2,000 shekels or close rather than getting the whole thing will be cash rather than what? Rather than me spending and what? And saying, look, I spent, here are your agolim, I left them intact, but Lamaisa pay me more than 50%. To give him the bill, to give him the agolim intact, right? And say, here are the agolim, but I'm giving you a bill, I'm serving you now a bill of 50% or even less, that is not good. We say that is worse for the owner. That is worse for the owner. Good? Now, the siach l'siochin, the same things go about the foals. Avzal avozim, v'tanagot on the goylim. In other words, make sure that you don't stay with that situation of giving him back the original and deducting 50%. That's worse than just better leave him with all the cash instead of all the originals. That's only in animals that don't pay for themselves. Now we're going to talk about this item that we have on the whiteboard. Oh, so now we have to go nice and slow. And everything will be clear, Be'ezus Hashem. What's going to be with the domim, with the money? Rabi Tarfon oimer yishtamesh. Oh, starts trouble. Rabi Tarfon oimer yishtamesh. Rabi Tarfon says you're allowed to use the money. Because you're allowed to use the money, what are you? Either shoyel or shomer sochor. And what? Now, let's assume shomer sochor. You have the sachar, as we said yesterday, we'll say later, knowing that I have cash in the side that can be there for me in a rainy day, that's very good and very profitable. And that's called me having sachar. I now am shomer sachar over what? Over the money that was the aveda, right? Okay. And therefore, if anything happens to the money in the level of gneva aveda, it got lost or stolen, I am mechuyav, I have to pay. We'll discuss it. Zog the Gemara. Well, Rabbi Akiva, what did he say? Rabbi Akiva says, no, don't touch. Rabbi Akiva says, you're shomer chinam. You're shomer chinam. You don't touch it. You don't gain anything from keeping that envelope with money at the end of your corridor in the cupboard over there in the safe. No gain, no nothing. The shomer chinam is potter from gneva v'aveda. Rabbi Akiva says, lefikach, therefore you're not chay b'achrayusan, meaning you're not responsible if it gets lost or stolen. That's the simple stuff. No, we explain Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Akiva. Explain both. It's the chule. Adkan, I prefer, I'm saying this more needs like, dive deep, try and, get immersed in it, and then you can ask your question. Adkan loy pligi. The only difference in machlokes between Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Akiva, as you just said, Rabbi, nishtamish behen, by the way, is lav dafka, he used them. The question is he allowed to use them? I'm saving a lot of trouble here, people. Yeah? This person, the finder, is allowed to use them. According to who? Rabbi Tarfon. Therefore, what? You're allowed to use it? Shomer sochor. Oh, very good. You're chayev. Yeah? Yes, pain, yes, gain. Or the other way, yeah? Aval lo nishtamish bahen. Oh, let's say there is no reshus to use the money. Let's say the guy is a regular shomer aveda. Let's say the person has the money and has no reshus to use it, not even a havamina. Let's say the original animal. Yeah, let's say something that he has absolutely no reshus to use. If you had a carpet, you're not allowed to use it. Im ovdu potu. it sounds like Rabi Tarfon and Rabi Akiva, listen now, because this is the source of the entire sugya now. The only reason why we discuss yes, no, that is Shomer Sachar, oh, maybe he's allowed to use the money. You're allowed to use the money. You have rights of Shomer Sachar. You also have to be more responsible. In Gneva Vaveda, you have to be responsible. However, that sounds like, if not for that factor of me and allowed to enjoy the money, then I'm a Shomer, what? Chinam. Oh, Zog the Gemara, that's a big question, challenge for who? That, what we just hear in the Mishnah, is a challenge for Rav Yosef. Before we continue, everybody here knows that Rabi Tarfon and Rabi Akiva are Tanoim. We're going to see now machlokes Rabba and Rav Yosef, which we saw in Bava, and they're Amoyroim. So now Rav Yosef is an Amoyra, is challenged by our Mishnah. Why? Says Rav Yosef in Bava and right over here, the Itmar, it says, Shomer Aveda. What is the status of a regular Shomer Aveda? Forget for 2 minutes about cash and fine. He found a puppy, he found shoes, he found a computer, he found a chewing gum, whatever he found. A person found an Aveda. What is his status stam, regardless to anything else? Is he a Shomer Sachar or Shomer Chinam? Rabba Omar Shomer Chinam, says Rabba. I look after someone's carpet, whatever, and what? Nobody's paying me. Nobody's doing, I'm doing a favor. This is 100% me doing favor. I'm a Shomer Chinam. What's my halacha? I'm potter from Gneva Aveda. Only Pshia. If anything happens to the animal, to any Aveda, I'm potter. I'm a Shomer Chinam. I'm the lowest level Shomer. That's what you meant, Rabbi, right? That's Rabba. Rav Yosef Amar Keshemer Socho. Wow. Rav Yosef comes with a chiddush, and that's how we pass it. Shemer Socho, which means a person looking after the Aveda has the status of a paid Shomer. And everyone's going to ask, what? Who's paying him? Two answers the Gemara in Bava Kama Nun Vav Amud Beis. Answer number one, Oisek b'mitzvah potur min mitzvah. The Gemara in Brachos and in Sukkah Chafei Amud Aleph says a person who's dealing with one mitzvah is potter from the other mitzvah. You're on your way to whatever, do a mitzvah, you're potter from sleeping in the sukkah. That's even without mitzvah. You're doing one, a choslan. The choslan is about to get married, mamish, tonight. He's very torud. We're thinking if he'll manage or not manage tonight. So therefore it's potter from Krishma. You're dealing with one mitzvah, potter from the other. Says Rav Yosef, did it ever happen to you in Eretz Yisrael? Evening time, you get a knock on the door, and a guy says that he's marrying off a child, or he comes from a family of 10 children, and they don't have money for the chazan. Ever happened to you? No. Well, it happened to me. I don't know what. So now you have to give him something. You have to give something. I'm saying 100 shekels, give him a shekel or two. I'm not learning Hilchot Tzedakah now. Conceptually, an oni, which is, let's say, a reliable person, you have to give him money. What happens if I have an Aveda, and I'm right now taking care of the Aveda? Right now, I'm feeding little puppy of the Aveda, because I'm a Shomer Aveda. Let's say right now, I found a carpet, and right now, I'm cleaning the carpet with that, bat kind of thing, So I'm potter from giving him money. So I gained something. Sounds very cynical, but it's true. I gained, monetarily speaking, not giving tzedakah. All those times when I take care of the cow in the cow shed, I'm potter from dealing with tzedakah. So at the end of the day, I'm sort of making money. That's what Rabbi Yosef says. There's a discussion that some say, even though there are times that the oni knocks on the door and I'm not dealing with Aveda, but generally speaking, the Aveda still saves me some money indirectly. So Rabbi Yosef sees Shomer Sachar. Another answer in Bava Kama is, why is he Shomer Sachar? Because it's a mitzvah and he gets a char from Hashem. Interesting. More than a regular Shomer Sachar who does favor to the other, he's doing a great mitzvah of looking after the Aveda. That's a spiritual sachar from Hashem. Wow. He gets Olam Haba, and that's called Shomer Sachar. No, questions are extreme. So now, Rakrega. So now the question is as follows. We have to really concentrate on the pshat here. Question is as follows, as we just said. According to Rav Yosef, the Mishnah doesn't smell right. Why? What did the Mishnah say? You know it's a Shomer Sachar. You know these guys are Shomer Sachar. Why? According to Rabi Tarfon, because he's allowed to use the actual cash in the envelope every once in a while, as long as he gives it back. Why? According to Rav Yosef, any Shomer Aveda is any Shomer Sachar, right? The tone of the Mishnah here sounds not like you. And Rabbi Akiva is even worse, according to you. Rabbi Akiva says outright, because he can't use the money, is a Shomer Chinam. You, Rav Yosef, you say that any Shomer Aveda is a shomer sachar anyways. Oy va'avoy. The Mishnah is not good with Rav Yosef. Just tell me if you got the question clear or not. I don't want to be nasty. I'm not interested in questions now of if, what, if would have been. Poshet pshat. Yes or no? Okay. I'm sorry. Amar lecha Rav Yosef, says Rav Yosef, like this. Very, very easy. Rav Yosef bumps the discussion one level up. Instead of between chinam and sachar, Rav Yosef does a genius thing. Look at me, at my finger and the board. It's not a question whether he's chinam or sachar, and he's only shomer sachar because he's allowed to use the money. No. The discussion is a sachar or a shoyel? I'm saying it in English before I read the Gemara. The basic information about any shomer aveda who found a stock in the street is a shomer sachar anyways. Comes a new question. When it's converted to money, is he a shoyel or not? Because somebody can use money. Last time I checked, says Rav Yosef, is called a shoyel, a borrower. Yeah, people use money, they're called borrowers. He's a legal borrower. Says Rav Yosef, the Mishnah is absolutely okay with me. Basically speaking, before we open our Mishnah, every Shomer Aveda is a Shomer Sachar. Because Hashem loves him, because he's spending money on the Yerushalmi guy who comes to the door. Comes another discussion about the guy, whether he can use the money. That's higher level, or Rabi Tarfon or Akiva. That's up there. He's Yeshayel, he's Chayav Be'oinsin. That's the question, and I'm good with the Mishnah. I'm just bumping the Mishnah one level above. That's Rabbi Yosef's answer, and we'll see it inside now. Rabbi Yosef, everyone agrees to me that a regular Shomer Aveda is a Shomer Sachar. Therefore, Gneva Vaveda got lost or stolen. Of course, he's Chayev. That's the second he brought it home from Shuk. He's Chayev B'Gneva Vaveda is a Shomer Sachar, like I said. The question is he at the level because he can use the money? That's called borrowing. You're borrowing from the envelope. Give back to the envelope. That's borrowing. Oh, a borrower, a shoyel. Ooh, is chab be'oinsin. Well, that's a question. And here's the machlokes at the summit, at the shoyel level. Rabi Tarfon savar sha'ol Rabbanan l'ishtamushi begavayu. Rabbanan, first wide line. Rabbanan allowed Mr. Shomer converted into money shomer to use the money when he needs to. He's mechuyev not only gneva v'aveda, he's mechuyev the top of the pyramid, even if it was complete oinus. There was a flood, Katrina, something out of control. Chayev. Rabbi Akiva says no. The Rabbanah did not allow him to use it at all, and therefore he's not a shoyel. But what is he? Shomer Sochol. Says Rav Yosef, like any other Shomer Aveda who's naturally, spontaneously, partially a Shomer Sochol. He's not the extra level of mamish using the money, dipping the money. That he doesn't have, says Rabbi Akiva. So he's not a shoyel. But the basic level, we're lending, boom, at the basic level, which according to Rabbi Yosef is Shomer Sochol. Yeah? In other words, where do we place the regular basic Shomer Aveda who's not yet using the money? Either Shomer Chinam, that's who says it's Shomer Chinam, that's Rabbah, and who says Shomer Sachar, that's Rav Yosef, right? And according to Rabbah, what's the discussion? Where's the machlokes? Yes, no, regarding using the money. That's a whole new level. According to Rabbah, when is that? According to Rabbah, that is the machlokes is Shomer Sachar. That's a machlokes, right? Yeah, that's a machlokes. That's Rabbah. And Rav Yosef says, let's make Rav Yosef red. Yeah, Rav Yosef says, no. The basic shomer is what says Rav Yosef is a shomer sachar, and the machlokes, whether it's a shoyel, that's machlokes Tarfon and Rabbi Akiva. That's the deal. That's the answer. Only very, very, very to the point short questions are welcome. Otherwise, I will not answer, and I'm sorry to be so nasty. Oh. Let's continue. Oh, now. Oh, what I will say, as I said before, and again, the mere fact is allowed to use it, even though he doesn't and may never, already makes him, according to Tarfon, either Shomer Sachar or Shoyel. Because knowing, as I told you yesterday, it's not just the some kind of nebulous feeling. It's a real thing. If somebody gives you the right to enter the swimming pool, you have to pay, I don't know, 50 shekels a month. Maybe you don't use how many people buy how do you call it, subscription to gyms that don't use it? Tons. That's the gyms make all their money. You have a subscription to the gym. You can't demand it back from them because you never go to the gym. You have the right to go to the gym. Pay for it, 50 shekels a month, 100 shekels a month. I don't go to the gym and you have a big belly, your problem. Same thing over here. You be'etzem have the right to use the money. You will do it, you won't do it. The right to use the money. It's called sachar or shayel. Frag the Gemara. Let's. Yes, I mean, very, very nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. And Rav Yosef says the basic idea, every shomer aved is shomer sochor. Once he gets Rashus upgrade, you can actually use the money, he becomes a shoyel according to Rav Tarfon. Lovely. Frag the Gemara. Very nice. Very nice. Frag the Gemara. Yehochi. Now, where are we? Yeah. Frag the Gemara. Yehochi. If so, now we have a stylistic, linguistic question from the Mishnah. If so, okay, Rav Yosef, you managed to get out of this alive. We have another question, Rav Yosef, another attack. Lefikach, the Omer Bekiva Lamali. Go back to the Mishnah, my dear friends, and read the very last words of the Mishnah of Chavches Amud Beis. The last words of the Mishnah are, Rabbi Akiva Lo Ishtamish Ben, don't use the money. Therefore, lefikach im avdu en chai b'achrayusan. Because you're not allowed to use it, therefore you're not responsible for gneva v'aveda. We assume that the Mishnah does not tell me things that are kita aleph stuff. Mishnah has come to tell me chidushim. And now comes the question. Rabbah is attacking Rav Yosef. Now we need to really concentrate. According to me, Rabbah, what's the discussion? Gneva v'aveda. Regular shomer is chinam. That's without our discussion of Akiva Tarfon. Rabbi Akiva Tarfon is about what? Gneva v'aveda. Is the or isn't shomer sachar chav gneva v'aveda? Oinsin, nobody spoke about it. According to me, now I understand what Rabbi Akiva is coming to tell me. There's a chiddush in the words of Rabbi Akiva. Why? Rabbi Akiva Omer. That is why Rabbi Akiva has to say, Lo ishtamish ben, don't use them. You're back to being a regular shomer aveda. You're not allowed to have this special privilege of using it because you're so nice and you fed the geese for 3 days. No, don't use it. There's a chiddush. You're not responsible for their gneva aveda. Why is there a chiddush? Because you know what? Sarcastically, the Mishnah comes la'apuki to exclude from what you, Rabbi Yosef, would say. Let's see it in the Gemara. Salkadaita chamina. Rabbi Akiva says you would have thought shomer sachar havi keder of Yosef. Says Rabbi Akiva, the guy once he's not allowed to use the cash, we don't say that he's still a shomer sachar because Hashem loves him because he doesn't have to answer the schnorr at the door. No, you would have said maybe he's anyhow a shomer sachar, like my colleague Rav Yosef thinks. Kamash Malan says the Mishnah against Rav Yosef. Kamash Malan comes to tell the Mishnah, lefikach, lefikach hashta damat lo ishtamish behen. Now that we say, says Rabbi Akiva, he's not allowed to use the cash, the money in the envelope at all. Shomer sachar lo havi. Don't have some wrong ideas like my friend Rav Yosef thinks that you anyhow shomer sachar because you're getting this twisted thing of not giving the tzedakah. Okay, very good. Says Rabbah, I read the Mishnah nicely. Look, the Mishnah comes to tell me once he's not a shomer sachar because he can't use the money, he's not a shomer sachar at all. And we don't come from left field and saying, hey, he's any shomer sachar because it's shomer aveda anyways. That's what the Mishnah comes to tell me. But according to your Rav Yosef, according to you, the words of Rabbi Akiva at the end are absolutely redundant. Continues the Gemara. According to Rabbi Yosef, everyone agrees that nothing to do with the usage of the money. The second Aveda entered his house, that geese and those horses came to the house, he's chayav automatically b'gneva v'aveda because of the shomer sachar, and that's a basic assumption, that's an axiom, that's a starting point. And kipligi be'oinsin the shoyel, and you want to tell me the machlokes is upgraded to oinsin and shoyel. My lefikach the Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, what did Rabbi Akiva say? Because he can't use the money at all. Therefore, he's not a shoyel. Really? Of course, he's not a shoyel. That's kita aleph. What's the reason, by the way, What's the reason that a shoyel really is mechuyev if some hurricane came? Because the shoyel we say kol hano shaloi. The shoyel can do anything he wants with the money. Is complete enjoyment, hano, complete benefit, zero interest, right? Zero nothing. You get everything. You pay for everything. But to tell me, yeah, that the person who's not touching the envelope is not a shoyel? What's the chiddush? Of course he's not a shoyel. What's the havamina? That's what the Mishnah should have said. Rabbi Akiva, lo ishtamish ben. It would suffice to say, Rabbi Akiva says, don't use it, which according to you, colleague Rav Yosef, means you're not a shoyel. Of course I know that if he doesn't use it, he's not a shoyel. Every kid in Gan knows that if somebody doesn't use the money and it's set in the corner in the side, it's sitting there, of course it's not a shoyel. Why does Rabbi Akiva have to say lefikach? I'm repeating the question. I know it's not so easy. I'm repeating. Rabbi Akiva made an extra few words. Rabbi Akiva is Rabbi Akiva. Is Rabbi Akiva. Is Moshe Rabbeinu number 2. You know that, or even greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. Rabbi Akiva doesn't like make points and extra. He's not a website. Yeah, Rabbi Akiva says a few words that may be redundant. What does he say? Because he's not allowed to use it, therefore he's not chayiv in the achrayis. Yeah, according to Rav Yosef, these words are redundant. Rabbi Akiva says the discussion is yes, no, shoyel, right? And shomer socher, of course, it's a shomer socher. Yes, no, is chayiv be'oinsin. Because Rabbi Akiva says, you know what? Because he's not allowed to touch it, he's not a shoyel. He's really a pikodon. Are you in a gan? In gan age 4? Well, what's the havamina? Bishlama, according to me, Rabba, there is a chiddush. We come and say the discussion is yes, no, shomer socher. And the Tanoim knew about your opinion of Yosef, even though you're not yet born, but they knew about that mindset. The Tanoim come and tell me, because he can't touch the envelope, says Rabbi Akiva, he's not a shomer socher, he's not chayiv. Why is he adding the words, the extra words to say, anana'a? Don't tell me that he's anyways shomer socher, because any shomer aveda is such a good boy, he's a shomer socher. That's what the coming to exclude from. But according to your Rav Yosef, the reading of the Mishnah, the extra few words of Rabbi Akiva are absolutely redundant. You have to tell me the guy who doesn't touch the envelope is not chayav be'oinsin, which is way, way above. It's a difference between here and here. It's two extremes. It's absolutely unnecessary. That's the question. And comes the answer. And I'll be very happy for your questions in 4 minutes from now. Answers the Gemara. Ishum lefikach Rabi Tarfon. Rabi Tarfon, if you notice, you can look back if you'd like to. Rabi Tarfon also said the magic word "ishtamish ben lefikach im avdu chay b'achrayusan." Rabi Tarfon said you are allowed to use it. What? Oh, well, lat. Lefikach, therefore, says Rabi Tarfon, because you're allowed to use it, you are chayiv, responsible for anything that happens. So what? Explains the Mishnah. That the Mishnah does many times. Sometimes the Mishnah does say redundant words. Don't throw stones at me. We know, stylistic. The Mishnah wants to keep a symmetric, homogenic style. Similar words in one opinion, because Mishnahs had to be chanted by heart. It's easier to say things by heart, and it's like ABC, D, E, F, 1, 2, 3. Like, that the style should be, yes, da-da-da, no, da-da-da. So we keep the same similar words, the equivalent, the mirror image of the yes and the no, keep the same style. And therefore, because Rabbi Tarfon said, according to his opinion, he added the extra words, he is allowed to use it, therefore he's chai b'achrayis. So Rabbi Akiva retorted, no, he's not touching it, therefore not chai b'achrayis. Comes the $1 million question, Rabbi Shloimeh, lefikach de Rabbi Tarfon lamali. Thank you. Why did Rabbi Tarfon say lefikach, right? What's the chiddush of Rabbi Tarfon, right? He can attack the same thing. Why does Rabbi Tarfon say he's allowed to take it, therefore it's chai b'achrayis? What's the chiddush? Everybody knows if you're allowed to use something, chai b'achrayis to some level, either oinsin, gneva v'aveda. Everybody knows if you get the usage, certain point or the other, then you have some responsibility. What's the chiddush there? Here comes the chiddush, and here we're closing a circle. Achika Omar. The Mishnah is mechadish to me in Rabbi Tarfon's words. Kevin the sharu, and that's what I told you guys, peanut gallery, good friends. Kevin the sharu, what's sharu? Allowed, permitted. Kevin the sharu Rabbanan ishtamashu begavayu. Since Rabbanan allowed him to use it, let's say the guy is very honest, millionaire, and those 2,000 shekels in the corner for him is like a joke. He's your tenagorot. He doesn't use them. He doesn't need to use them. Doesn't care about them. No. Because Rabbanan allowed him to use it, It's as if you already used it and it's chai b'achrayus. As I told you, the mere fact and that's a chiddush of Rabi Tarfon. That is a chiddush because you guys were also right. You were not happy about it. It's a chiddush. The chiddush is of Rabi Tarfon because the person has permission to use it. Therefore, according to him, is considered a shoyel, right? Even though he never used them and may never use them in future. The knowledge, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, let's say I have a bank account that's struggling, but there's another bank account of pikdoinus. You can sometimes dip your hand in times of trouble. Just knowing that gives you a peace of mind. You're less worried while you're davening shmonesa, while you're listening to shir. You have that knowledge. You have money in the side. That's worth money. That's worth money. Or even a shayel, according to Rabi Tarfon. It's still you borrowed them. It's a bigger chiddush for Rabi Tarfon. Your borrower, even if you didn't borrow, let's say you borrowed money and you never use it. Aren't you a shayel? Of course you are. Let's say you borrow money from someone. You borrowed, mamish borrowed, not like you. Loiva, you mamish borrowed money from your friend and you never got to use it. You win the lottery the day later. Aren't you a shayel? Of course you are. You be'etzim, you're a shayel. You got permission to use the money. You're a shayel. That's what the Mishnah is mechadish me according to Rabi Tarfon. One more line to flip the page. The question is again, according to Rabi Tarfon, according to Rabbi Yosef, the discussion is that according to Tarfon is the shoyel chayv be'oinsin, and shomer, of course, shomer sacher is anyhow shomer sacher chayv be'gneva v'aveda. Frag the Gemara va'ovdu ktani. Excuse me, it doesn't say nensu, it says ovdu. You, Rabbi Yosef, tell me that the discussion is chayv be'oinsin. Not true. The Mishnah said Gneva Vaveda. Sounds more like Rabba, that the discussion is something stolen or lost. Answers the Gemara to the Rabba. Sometimes Gneva Vaveda can be in the form of Oinsin. Doma Rabba says Rabba, Nignevu Balistim Mezuyan. Let's say it was stolen, but the guy had blazing gun in his hands. They're stolen. The stolen of Shomer Sochol, which Rabbi Tarfon, according to Rav Yosef, is not discussing, was stolen at night. Stolen at night? Excuse me. Make a better code on your door. Was the door locked properly? That's Gneva Vaveda. If a guy comes with a mask on his face, not a corona one, and gun blazing the money or life, that's Gneva, but it's oinsin. It's forced. Nobody has another choice but to give him the money. So Mimele, it's called Gneva, but really it's oinsin. It's both together. It's Gneva in the level of oinsin. Ovdu, what's Ovdu? Shetovas Finosa Bayam. What does it mean that money got lost? He went on a cruise with this money there, Dafka in his pocket, looking after it very well. And there was a storm. The storm out of his control. He knows how to navigate very well. The storm is Einstein. A big storm came unexpected. Then it's called lost. It got lost. But the Einstein, mainly it's true. I can still maintain, says Rabbi Yosef, that the discussion of the Mishnah of Tarfon and Akiva, yes, no, is it Einstein, yes or no? But it's called Gneva Vaveda. Gneva Vaveda to the level of Einstein. And by the way, good people, Gneva Vaveda can also be in Pshia. Let's say the person was, smoking a cigarette, looking for the 15th time about the election news. I don't know what he wants to look at again, if Gimel or this and that, and I don't know, Adar Mukhtar. And the thing is being stolen or being lost. It's also Gneva Vaveda, but what is it called? Pshia. You're negligent, right? So Gneva Vaveda really can apply to any of the three levels. Stam, bear that in mind. When we say Gneva Vaveda, we mean he wasn't too negligent, and he wasn't mamish by force. Middle of the road Gneva Vaveda. Says Rav Yosef, I don't believe that's a Gneva Vaveda. Spoken about in the Mishnah. I stick to my gun that any Shomer Sachar is always Shomer Vaveda. Always, every Shomer Vaveda is always Shomer Sachar. If he can use the envelope, according to Rabbi Tarfon, he's even bumped to be Gneva Vaveda to the level of Einstein because he's really a Shoyel. Whoa! Baruch Hashem. That page was for me difficult to prepare, but I feel I have it clear. If you feel otherwise about yourselves, I'm more than welcome to hear questions, comments, dial 179. Yeah. And the shear is over. Thank you very much. Everybody should go and vote for Stylistic.